Everybody? Welcome into another episode of Bulls Latest. Your host, Matt Johnson here. There is another team said to be in on Lonzo Ball. That is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, they were said to be interested in acquiring him around the trade deadline this past season in February, so it's no surprise that they're looking to revisit bringing him in on what is a pretty reasonable contract, in that second year being an option in that 2-year deal. So keep an eye on that. I did see that the T-Wolves could be moving a guy like Mike Conley. Now, I know at 37 years old, he's extremely past his prime there. And I think that's something that would be a scenario for the Bulls if they were to look at acquiring the Timberwolves' second-round pick. They picked at the top of the second round, 31st overall. So you'd be looking at acquiring that second-round pick and Mike Conley, and sending Lonzo Ball back to Minnesota there. Or you could chase that 17th overall pick in the first round that Minnesota owns, and you would probably be looking at giving up Lonzo Ball and a younger player there in Julian Phillips. So definitely some couple scenarios there to watch as we move closer to draft night. I think if you're the Bulls and you try and snag that 17th overall pick, why not try and grab Mike Conley as well? I know a lot of Bulls fans will be like, nah, we don't want him with his age and what he brings at this point in his career. But veteran presence, a guy who could play probably more of a limited role on the Bulls roster. But Mike Conley still has a little bit left in the tank, I think, enough to warrant a roster spot there and kind of nurture and coach some of these young guys as well, these young guards that the Bulls have. So that could never be enough of that on the team there as far as veteran leadership. So we'll look into that as we move closer to draft night, see if that continues to be a plan of action, and see if the Timberwolves continue to heighten their interest in Lonzo Ball. Jumping into another guy, this is arguably the biggest, if not maybe the second biggest domino to fall in free agency this year. You know, it's been reported that Giannis is more likely now not to move out of Milwaukee, so Kevin Durant could be the biggest name on the move. It's certain that, he's going to be a guy that's going to be, moving out of Phoenix there. He would be a wild card. The Bulls would be a wild card suitor for him. It is not likely, but it's a team that could come out of, the back row there to swoop in and make a splash on a veteran like this. I think with Chicago being one of the largest markets in the U.S., and a franchise in dire need of revitalization, frankly. This offers an opportunity to do that. I believe, personally, Kevin Durant's a top 10 player all time. And I think, as far as the Suns go, they're in the worst salary cap position in the NBA at the moment, I think. And, they shelled over $150 million to Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. What a mess that's become for that organization. So, Durant's a tremendous player. A guy that would make an immediate impact. He's got a lot left in his prime, I think. They would have to pay a hefty salary of his next season. I believe it's somewhere along the lines of $55 million. And you would be looking at a deal that would probably include, if they move that direction, Lonzo Ball. You would certainly look at moving Kevin Huerter. Obviously, Nikola Vucevic would be at the forefront of that deal as well. And then, you have some young guys you could throw in there as sweeteners as well. And Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Julian Phillips, and Dalen Terry. I think all four of those guys could be part of that package deal for Durant as well. I just think if you're going to do it, take a swing. Bring in a guy like Kevin Durant. I know certainly I would enjoy watching him play in a Bulls uniform. I think he would thrive here, and it's something the Bulls haven't had as a perennial superstar here for a long time. So given that they are, believed to be a wild card team, there is an outside chance. And I think more realistically, if this deal were to get done, you would look at Kobe White being at the forefront of the trade, seconded by Vucevic, Kevin Huerter, probably a 2026 first rounder. They'd probably be looking for draft capital, Phoenix, and looking at a heavy rebuild on the horizon here. And then you'd probably have to send them over. I highly doubt they would actually be interested in adding like a Dalen Terry. So you'd probably be looking at a 2029 second round pick. That could be enough. That's a pretty big haul for one guy there in Kevin Durant. I know he's a superstar, so the asking price is going to be high. the Bulls certainly have the assets to at least make the phone call. So something to watch there. I know he's going to be the big name in this year's free agency class to watch if Giannis stays put, which seems likely at this point. So we'll keep all eyes on that. Jumping into a guy to watch in the draft here, Ryan Kelper. Now, this guy is a senior out of Creighton who is a very exciting 7'1", 270-pound center. He played a lot of valuable, solid minutes for this Creighton program in his time there. This past season, averaging 19.2 points a game, and he averaged 8.7 boards a game, shot a whopping 65.3% from the field. That's very solid for that position. The consistency was there all throughout the majority of his college career. He's an exciting prospect, kind of a dark horse, I think. The Bulls are looking to add a draft pick of some value at the top of the second round. That he probably won't fall that far, but if you can snag another first-round pick or two, kind of right below where the Bulls are picking right now at 12, if you don't get a guy like Derek Queen, or if you decide to go Colin Murray Boyles or a guard at that position in the draft in the first round, Kalkbrenner could be a contingency plan. I think he offers a ton of value. He's kind of a guy who could blossom into something good in the NBA. I think he could play a solid role on an NBA roster, and I think he has that capability. Now, he will need some developments to transition to the next level, as most guys do coming out of college, and he'll need to build to that, but I think the Bulls are in a position to give that an opportunity. So Ryan Kalkbrenner, a guy to watch here, and certainly would be an exciting piece to add. So overall, I just think, that the Kevin Durant situation and take by me is gonna have a lot of people chattering on what's gonna happen there. But hey, that's what I do. That's what I like to do. I enjoy throwing around rumors on this channel, and as we move through an exciting part of the off season, why not talk about a guy who, like I said, to me is a top 10 player all time. Kevin Durant, a special talent there. So we'll watch that. I just think that offers another scenario where you could move Vooch, and believe it or not, I mean, you look at the big picture, the Bulls have assets to pull that off. It's just a matter of if Phoenix could get a better offer somewhere else. It'll be interesting to watch there, but there are scenarios where that could happen. But the Bulls, pick up the phone, make the call. You'd be selling yourself short if you didn't. If I'm the Bulls front office, so definitely something to take a look at. And I think, as the uncertainty sits with what they currently have in Kobe White, the Magic are going to be a very interesting team to watch if he doesn't get moved to Phoenix in a blockbuster scenario that I, touched on there. But we'll see. We'll see how these pieces fall and what happens. I think the Bulls are in an exciting spot as a franchise, and they have a window now where you can make a splash move, whether that's in the draft or in free agency. I'll continually say that as we move closer to June 25th and through free agency, the Bulls are positioned to do something big here. So whether it's this offseason or next, you will see it happen, and I'm excited to see that kind of take place with this organization. It's something we've been waiting on as Bulls fans. So I want to thank you all for joining me on another episode of Bulls Latest today, and we will see you next time.